DaVinci Resolve is hands down the best free editing software on the planet, but most beginners think it's complicated or hard to learn. Spoiler alert, it's not. Today, I'm showing you an easy 10-step workflow that makes editing YouTube videos super simple. And the final results will look so professional, everyone will think you're using super expensive software that takes years to master. So let's dive right into it. Now, if you've never edited or used DaVinci Resolve before, have no fear, because in this video, we are going to cover everything. And first things first, we gotta make sure we're using the right page inside of DaVinci Resolve. You see, DaVinci Resolve has all these different pages at the bottom of the screen. And to someone who is new or opening up this software for the first time, this can be really confusing. To keep it short, there is really only one page that we need to worry about, and that is the edit page. We'll be spending 95% of our time on this one page. So you really don't have to worry about all these other pages right now. All right, now that we've got that covered, let's jump right into this 10-step editing workflow. It's crucial that you follow every step closely for every single YouTube video that you make. The last thing that you want to do is skip an essential step, post your video, and then wonder just how well it could have performed. The first few steps are pretty straightforward, so we'll cruise through those pretty quickly. But once we've laid the foundation, we'll dive deep into the best strategies to significantly boost the quality of your edit. Stick around, you definitely don't want to miss that stuff. Step number one is nice and easy, and that is to import and organize your content. To import your content into DaVinci Resolve, open a new project, and on the top left side of your screen, we want to select the photograph looking icon, which is the media pool. After that's selected, you should see two rectangles, a small one on the left and a larger one on the right. To import your footage, all you have to do is drag the folder that your videos are stored in on your computer, and then you want to drag those into the smaller rectangle. If you haven't organized your content on your computer into folders, all you have to do is right-click in the small rectangle, select New Bin, which is essentially a fancy word for a folder, and then rename that bin to whatever the content is. For example, I'll rename this to A-roll. After that, we just want to make sure the folder is selected in the small rectangle, and then all we have to do is drag your content into the big rectangle right here. Moving on to step number two, which I call laying the foundation. This is where we take these story-based clips and align them in chronological order on the timeline. For example, in this video that we're editing here, I have a few different segments that really drive the story forward. First, we start in the studio setup. Then we move to the office setup. After that, the camera switches up to a different angle in the studio setup. And then the video ends back in the office setup. In this step, we're taking all of that footage and dragging it down into the timeline and organizing it chronologically. Up next, in step 3 and 4, we're gonna enhance two of the most important elements of your content, and that is color and sound. For talking head content like this, I prefer to enhance both color and sound early in the editing process. That way, as we move forward in the editing process, all of the clips that we work with both look and sound great. On this channel, for YouTube videos, we typically shoot in a log format, which gives us higher quality footage, but only after it's properly color corrected. That's another reason why I like tackling color correction at this stage. We can handle all the adjustments up front before we start cutting the clips up into a lot of different pieces, making things way more complicated down the line. Now, this is pretty straightforward in DaVinci Resolve. They've made our life pretty easy, although we will have to jump to a different page to do this. And that is the color page right down here. Now, this might look like we're trying to fly an airplane right now instead of edit a video, but I'll try to simplify this as much as possible. So to color correct this clip pretty well, there's really only a couple things that we need to do. And the first thing that we'll want to do is infuse as much color into this clip in the preview window as quickly as possible. Now, there's a couple different ways to do that. One way would be to come down here to the color wheels icon, click this, and then we want to navigate to this small button right here, which is the color wheels. And through these color wheels right here, we can start to correct the color of this image. Now, this is a bit of a manual process, not impossible, just does take a little bit of time. But because I shot this in a log profile, one of my favorite methods to quickly pump color into this video is to use a color preset or a LUT. Now in the description of this video, I added a link to a free YouTube video editing starter pack. In that starter pack is actually the same exact LUT that we're going to use to color correct this video. I also added a Google Drive link to a log video clip that you can practice with. So definitely download the free video editing starter pack and the log clip in the description of this video so you can practice and follow along. Now to get the LUT inside of the software, DaVinci Resolve has actually made it super easy. What we're going to do is navigate to this button up here, which is LUTs. Click this, and then you'll see this folder right here, which is labeled LUTs. Hit this caret drop down and scroll all the way down until you see Sony. Click on Sony, and then what we're going to do is right click and then click Reveal in Finder. Now this just opened up the Sony folder inside of DaVinci Resolve. So all we had to do here is go into the free YouTube video editing starter pack, go into the LUTs folder, select the LUT, and then drag that LUT into the Sony folder right here. Perfect. Now let's go back to the software, and we just want to go to the Sony section right here, right click, and then hit refresh. And just like that, you should see the LUT that we installed pop up in this display window right here. So we want to go to the one that says CCT. That's the one that we just imported. And to get this onto our clip, all we had to do is hover over the LUT and double click. And that just applied that to this video clip right here. Now that just did a really good job correcting this footage. If we want to add any tweaks to this, we can come down to our color wheels right here and adjust the exposure. Now I'll quickly go over what each of these mean, starting from the left, moving to the right. Lift is equal to the shadows. Gamma is equal to the midtones. Gain is equal to the highlights. And offset is equal to the overall exposure. So if I want to increase the dark parts of the video, I would click this bar down here and drag it to the right. Now to reset, I can go up to this button right here. Now if I want to darken the shadows, I can click down here and move it to the left. So for this image, I'm going to move it slightly to the left. Right about there is perfect. Now for the midtones, this is going to add a lot of exposure on the body right here. So I'm going to click and drag to the right, and notice how that's kind of bringing everything up in the middle right there. So if I want to add a lot more light to the face and the body, I can bring that up just a little bit. And the highlights is going to affect the brightest sections of the video. For example, the light back here. Notice if I click and drag this way down, it's changing the exposure of that light quite a bit. So I'm going to bring this back up. Right about there is pretty good. I'm actually going to bring it down just a little bit. I like that. And I'm going to bring the shadows down a bit more. This is going to add a lot more contrast, kind of give it an edgier look. In the offset, I think the exposure is actually really good on this image, so I'm not going to touch this at all. But if I were to adjust this, click and drag it up, notice how the whole image is getting brighter and the whole image is getting darker. So I'm going to reset this value by hitting this button right here. Sweet, I think this looks great. Now that's how you can adjust the exposure of the video, but let's say the white balance of the video was off. For example, the video was too orange. Well, you can come up to the temperature gauge right here, and if it's too orange, you'll want to add more blue in the video. So you can click and then drag to the left to add more blue. Or if you wanted to make it more orange, you can click and drag to the right, and that's going to make it more orange. You can also adjust the tint here, which is adjusting how much green or magenta is in the image. So if I wanted to add more magenta, I would move this to the right. If I wanted to add more green, I would move this to the left. And that's basically the process that you would follow for color correcting your video. Really, you're just trying to answer the main questions, which is the video too dark? Is it too bright? Or is it too cool or too warm? Those are the major issues when people are starting off color correcting inside of DaVinci Resolve. And if you can solve those, you're going to have a great looking video. If you wanted to see the before and after on this clip, you can come up to this area right here, click and hold on this triangle, and that's going to show you the before. If you release it, that's going to show you the after. And wow, that made a world of difference. Now, if you quickly wanted to get to the next clip to do another color correction, all you'd have to do is come to this section right here and select the next clip. And now we could quickly apply the LUT that we just installed by going up here, double clicking, and now we have the LUT on this video track. With our wheels open right here, we could quickly go through and grade this, increase the shadows, increase the midtones a little bit, bring up the highlights, bring down the midtones a little bit, and bring down the shadows a little bit to have a good amount of contrast. I think that looks pretty good right there. And with the offset, we can bring this up just a little bit. I think if we bring down the highlights and the midtones just a little bit, that looks pretty good, just like that. And we would do the same exact process throughout the rest of our footage. So now that the color's out of the way, we can focus on audio. So I'm gonna come down here to the edit page, and DaVinci Resolve has made this pretty easy to do. Now, right now you can't see any audio waves. That's because this audio track is fully compressed. So what I'm gonna do is select this and expand this down. And as I expand that down, now you can see the audio waves. I'm going to select on this middle bar right here and bring this up, expand this down even more so we can really get a good view of these audio tracks. Now, a really easy way to adjust the audio is by selecting the video track just like this, navigating over here. We want to make sure we have the inspector button clicked right here. That'll display this, and we want to go to the audio tab right here. Now you'll see that we have this volume slider right here. So if I click and drag this up, notice how the audio waveforms are increasing. And if I drag it down, notice how they're decreasing. So with the audio, we'll have to listen to see how much we want to increase or decrease the volume. So if I play this video track,
recommend this octabox with a grid for,
notice how the sound waves are appearing over here.
Or this lantern here that spreads the light a bit more.
So right now the audio levels are coming in anywhere from -10 to -20 dB. That's way too low for YouTube, and we definitely would not want to export this with the current levels. Now, if you don't see this mixer down here, all you have to do is go up to this button right here and select mixer. Now, like I said, we can listen to this audio track and manually bring up these levels so they fall anywhere from -3 dB to -5 dB, which is really where we want to be for YouTube. Or what I can do is right click on this video track, select normalize audio levels, select true peak, and change this to -2.0. Then I'm going to hit normalize. And boom, just like that, DaVinci Resolve worked a little bit of algorithmic magic. And if we play this back,
and the lantern is exactly what I'm using to light this video right now.
Now we're having a bit more success with the audio levels. These have been brought up quite a bit. Now, if this is still too low, we can use our volume slider right here to bring it up. Now, real quick, let's check out the difference before we enhance the audio and after.
But that wraps it up for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Huge
difference. Bringing up those audio levels definitely helped. Now, DaVinci Resolve does have some pretty cool AI features in their paid studio version, and I just want to show you one real quick. I think this one is really cool. So check out this audio.
So here's what the microphone sounds like by a busy intersection. We've definitely got some good car noises.
All right, so really loud, tons of background sounds, and it's kind of hard to hear Anthony's voice. But when I apply AI voice isolation by clicking this audio track and just toggling this on, now let's listen to the difference of this audio.
So here's what the microphone sounds like by a busy intersection. We've definitely got some good car noises behind us.
So totally strips out that background sound. This is really good in a pinch if it's really windy out or you have a lot of stuff going on in the background. Voice isolation can definitely help clean up your audio. Step 5, forget to do this and I guarantee your views will plummet. Cut the fluff. You see, unless you're absolutely perfect on camera, which I absolutely am not, there will always be pauses between lines, mistakes where you have to repeat yourself, or just boring sections that will kill the retention of your videos if it's left in. So let's do our job for the viewer and cut out all the fluff. And I promise, if you can memorize these 3 keyboard shortcuts, it will speed up your editing like crazy. So what we're gonna do is locate the point of the timeline where Anthony stops talking, which is right here. Now what I'm going to do is select the clip and hit Command B. And notice that just made a cut on this video track. So we have a clip here and now we have a clip here. Now what I'm going to do is go to the next point where Anthony starts talking again, which is right here. I'm going to select that video track. Now instead of hitting Command B again and making another cut point here, what I really want to do is delete everything from the left of this playhead. That's going to delete everything right here. So to do that, I can apply a keyboard shortcut, and that is Command Shift left bracket. And boom, just like that, we deleted everything to the left of the playhead. Now, if I play this video through,
and make sure to stick around to the end because I'll be giving away some free editing templates and a color grading LUT that will instantly improve the look of your iPhone footage.
All right, cool. So now we have another pause right here. So I'm going to hit Command B. That's going to apply a cut point. Now I'm going to go to the next part where Anthony starts talking. Select this clip, and we're going to use that same keyboard shortcut that I just showed you, Command Shift left bracket. So now I'm going to show you the third keyboard shortcut, which is the opposite of deleting everything to the left of the playhead. So from here, let's say you make a cut point right here. So I'm going to hit Command B. And now what I want to do is delete everything in this section right here. So I'm going to bring the playhead over here. Notice now I want to delete everything to the right of the playhead. So to do that, what I want to do is hit Command Shift right bracket. And boom, just like that, we just deleted everything to the right of the playhead. Definitely do not waste your time clicking around on these buttons up here. These 3 keyboard shortcuts will save you so much time. All right, now that we've got the story completely assembled, colored, audio enhanced, the fluff has been cut, it's time to really upgrade your videos. Steps 6, 7, and 8 is what really separates the beginners from the pros. B-roll, graphics, and effects. Now, depending on the type of video that you're working on and your personal style, you might handle each of these steps one at a time. For example, you could do all the B-roll first, then go back to the beginning of the video and just focus on graphics. Or what you can do, and what I prefer, is to add B-roll, graphics, and effects all at once as I work through the video in a single, slightly longer pass. Either way, these steps are super crucial, so let's start off with B-roll. The more visually diverse and engaging you can make your video, the better. Think about your favorite creators on the platform. Watch their content closely, and you'll notice they're constantly breaking up the patterns of their videos and enhancing the visuals with B-roll. My favorite YouTube channel, Dude Perfect, is a great example. Their videos stand out because they're always doing something insane. They rarely spend long periods just talking to the camera. Instead, they cover up almost all of the talking shots with crazy trick shots or hilarious montages of them almost making the shots. At any given moment, there's always something exciting happening on the screen. Even right now, as I'm talking about Dude Perfect, showing clips of their content is a perfect example of B-roll in action. When you're filming, make it a habit to capture not just yourself talking, but also what you're talking about. We've got plenty of videos on our channel that dive deeper into how to do this. And if you really want to master it, our full online course, 14-Day Filmmaker, has an entire masterclass on this topic alone. Personally, I'll often pause right at this step in the editing process, watch through the rough edit I've created so far, and make a list of all the B-roll shots that would make the video better. From there, I'll head out, film everything in one quick outing, and then jump back into the editing software. Depending on your video style, this can be a pretty efficient way to work. Now, adding B-roll to our video is actually a pretty simple process. All we're trying to do here is match up visuals to what's being talked about on screen. For example, in this part of the video, Anthony is talking about adding a third-party lens to your smartphone. So I know I have a clip of this, so I'm gonna go into my B-roll folder right here. And what I'm doing right here is looking for a video of a third-party smartphone lens. So right here, this is a pretty cool clip. So now what I'm gonna do is double click this clip, and that just brought it up in the preview window right here. Now, I don't want to drag this whole video clip in. I only want to use a certain part of this. So I'm going to navigate down here to this scrub bar right here, and I can scrub through to see what part of the video I want to use. So let's say I want to start the video right here. I'm going to stop scrubbing, and now I'm going to hit I on my keyboard. Now I'm going to hit the spacebar, and that's going to play the video. And let's say I want to stop right here. I'm going to hit spacebar again. That's going to pause the video. And now I'm going to hit O. Now I have a certain section of that video that I can drag into the timeline. So I'm going to click here and drag this into the timeline just like this and drop. And now I have the video in my timeline. All right, so let's get the timing right of this video.
Get a third-party telephoto lens.
So when Anthony says get a third-party telephoto lens, that's what I want to bring in this video. So I'm going to select the video and drag this over to that point right here. Now, right now, this video ends a little bit early. I want to extend this out to this cut point right here. So what I'm going to do is select the end of this video track and drag it out until it cuts right here. Now, one thing to note with B-roll is we always want to drag the B-roll on top of the A-roll track right here. That's because as we work up these tracks right here, the top clip always gets shown over the bottom clip. So if I were to stack another B-roll video on top of this video right here, that one would get shown instead of this one. And that's the basic process of adding B-roll to your video. Find the clip that you want, select the part of that video that you want to use, and drag that into the timeline. And then you would just do that process for the rest of your video. Now, one thing I want to note about B-roll is with a little bit of planning, you can do some really cool effects. For example, Anthony planned out this really cool transition from this shot to this shot by doing a cool motion with his hand. Technically, this is actually really easy to do inside of DaVinci Resolve. I'll show you how to do this real quick. Maybe you can draw some inspiration from it. And what I'm going to do is double click this video to get it up in our preview window. I'm going to go to the transition. So that's the end. So I'm going to set an in point right here and then an out point right here. So that's the whole motion. Drag this in. Now I'm going to go to our after shot right here, double click this, do the same thing, look for the transition. Cool, so that's the after, out, and then that's the before. And now I'm just going to drag this in as well. So now let's time this up with the audio.
Accessories to turn your iPhone into a
So we're looking for the word cinematic. So right here, cinematic. So what I'm going to do on the word cinematic, I want that to be the turn motion for the new setup. This is where the camera is going to change. So I'm going to hit Command B, delete this beginning, line up cinematic again. Right here, I'm going to drag this over. Now I'm going to do the opposite on the beginning. So here's the down motion right here. So now I'm going to select this, make a cut. We don't need this second half. And I'm just going to drag this over right here. So when Anthony says iPhone at the beginning here,
is to turn your
iPhone right here. I'm just going to keep my playhead here, go to the beginning of this clip, drag this over. And now I'm going to go to our after clip and extend this out to the cut point right here. So as you can see, technically it's pretty easy to do. It's just a couple of clips, but with a little planning, you get a really cool effect that looks like this.
iPhone into a cinematic powerhouse.
Very cool, and that is the power of B-roll. Now, steps 6, 7, and 8 are B-roll graphics and effects, and one really popular effect that people like to use for their B-roll are transitions. This would be to transition from their A-roll to their B-roll. And in DaVinci Resolve, adding transitions is actually really simple and easy. All we have to do is navigate up to Effects up here, and from here we're going to navigate to Video Transitions. And over in this section right here, we have all of our transitions that are built into the DaVinci Resolve platform. To preview how these would look on your video, all you have to do is hover your mouse over the transition just like this, and it's going to give you a nice little preview. There are lots of options in here. I do have to say a bunch of them are a little corny, so you definitely want to be aware of what you're putting on your video track. There are a couple of really good ones though. Two of my favorites are push and pop. So to search for transitions, all you have to do is go up to this search bar right here, and then we can search and push. And right up here, if we scroll to the top, we have under motion, push right here. Now adding transitions to the B-roll track is pretty easy to do. All we had to do is locate our transition right here that we want to use, click, drag that onto our B-roll clip, and we just want to place that at the beginning of the clip so it looks like that. And then we drop. So now you have something that looks like this.
In camera, get a third-party telephoto lens and put it over.
Pretty cool. The only thing with this transition right now is it's looking a little bit amateur. And the reason being is the transition is kind of slow and there's no motion blur happening. So we can fix this by selecting the transition, and that just popped up this window right here. And now we have a couple settings that we can tweak. So there's two settings in here that are really going to have a big impact on how this transition looks. First one is the speed. So in this case, 60 frames is equal to 1 second. So to make this faster, we can do 30 frames. That's going to equal 0.5 seconds. So now the transition looks like this.
Get a third.
That already looks a lot better. But we can keep going. And the next thing that we're going to do is increase the motion blur. So we're just going to move this up quite a bit. Something like that is perfect. And the next thing that we're going to do is ease. We're going to select this and we're going to go in and out. So now we have something that looks like this.
Get a third-party telephoto lens.
And that looks a lot better. Now, the only thing about this is notice how the transition is coming in from the left, but the clip is moving to the left. So it doesn't really feel super natural. All we had to do is go over to preset right here, and under push left, we're now going to go push right. So now everything should be flowing in the same direction.
camera, get a third-party telephoto lens.
And that looks way more professional. And if we wanted to do the same transition on the way out, all we would have to do is select the transition, hit Command C, go to the end of the clip, click it. So now we have this green line appearing, and then hit Command V.
And put it over that main camera. You're just gonna get...
And that looks really good. Transitions also work really well in between clips. So what I'm gonna do is delete this second transition, bring in another B-roll clip. So for example, this one right here, double click it. That'll open up in the preview. And this part's really cool right here. So I'm gonna hit I, O, drag this in. And now what I wanna do is line these clips up back to back. So I'm gonna select this one, drag this over. So now they are going back to back. There's no gap in between. And if I wanna use that same push transition, all I have to do is select it, Command C, go to the middle here. So now I have that green line appearing, and I'm gonna hit Command V. Now that just added the transition in the middle of these two clips. So if I go over here and play this, we have this really cool transitioning happening in between this one and this one. All right, now that you have a good understanding of transitions, let's cover graphics, animations, and a few more effects that will really help bring your videos to life. So in this part of the video, Anthony is talking about 3 brands that he trusts most. And what we're gonna do here is add some custom text. So to add custom text, we're gonna navigate up to Effects, then we're gonna navigate down to Titles. And what we're looking for here is text. We're gonna click this and drag this onto the timeline. And now this allows us to do custom text. When I select the text, this box will pop up over here, and this allows me to customize the text on the screen. So Anthony is talking about 3 brands, so I'm gonna type in brand number 1. Now this is really hard to read on the screen right here, but if we navigate over here, we have the ability to customize this quite a bit. So first we're gonna pick a different font. Let's get something a bit more bold. I'm gonna go all the way up to the top. I really like this one. I think this looks cool, Anton. So I'm gonna select that. And we wanna make this a bit easier to read, so I'm gonna make this black, just like that. I'm gonna increase the size quite a bit. Perfect. Make this 150. Now I'm gonna scroll down a little bit and add a background to this. I'm gonna move the color of the background and make this white. And right now we can't see the background. All we had to do is increase the height, just like that. And let's drop this width in. Cool. I love the rounded corners look. I think that's great. We will increase the opacity though to make this a solid color in the background. Can bring the width in just a little bit more, drop the height down just a little bit. I think that's perfect, just like that. Very visible, easy to read. Now we don't want to customize the text that same way 3 individual times. Instead, what we'll do is just duplicate this 2 more times and then change the numbers to say number 2 and number 3. But first, before we duplicate it, let's add some cool animation to this. So we're gonna go over to my second favorite transition, which is pop. We're gonna navigate to video transitions, go to search and type in pop. And this will be pop wobble. Click, drag, and we just wanna drop this on the front of the text layer just like that. So now we have something that looks like this. So now that we have the transition on the text layer, to duplicate it, all we have to do is select the text layer, hold down Option, click, and then drag this up 1 layer just like that. And now we can do this one more time, hold down Option, click, and then drag up a layer. Perfect. So now we have 1, 2, 3, just like that. So now let's quickly adjust where these are located on the screen. Let's go to the bottom one right here, and we want to navigate over to video. And now if we scroll down a little bit, you'll see position X and Y right here, and this allows us to change where the text is located on the screen. So I'm just gonna move the Y down a little bit, which is vertical, X is horizontal. So perfect, just like that. Now I'm gonna move to the second one, move this down, move this over a little bit. And now to the third one, move this over and down a little bit. Now I'll probably have to make these a little bit smaller. As you can see, there's a bit of overlap happening. So what I'm gonna do is select all 3 of these, just like that. Then I'm gonna navigate over to settings, and I'm gonna go to position X and move these over, and zoom X and bring these down. And notice how that's decreasing the size of all of them. I'm gonna go over to position Y and bring these down a little bit. Perfect. Now let's adjust the spacing. So work on the left-hand side and let's move this over a little bit. Let's go to the far right and move this over a little bit. Great. And the middle one. And that is pretty good, just like that. Sweet. So now we have brand 1. This would be 2 and 3. We can just quickly rename these. Go over to title, change this to 2, then go to the third one and change this to 3. Now, what a lot of pro editors do is stagger these. So I'm going to go to the beginning of the transition. Now I'm going to use my arrow keys and click over 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to zoom in and just stagger these out 5 frames. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Move these over. So now we have something that looks like this. And that looks a lot more professional as they come in at slightly different times. Now at the end, when Anthony starts to introduce the brands, we don't want these to appear anymore. So we can just select all of them. And now with all of them selected, I can hit Command B, and that just applied a cut point to all of our text layers. Now I can delete them just like that. Now let's say I wanted to apply a different transition on the way out here. Let's do a classic cross dissolve. All I'd have to do is select that, drag that onto the end of the clip just like that. Let's make this really short, quick little fade on the way out, something like that. Now what I can do is copy this and I can apply this to both of these clips as well. I can do that by holding down Command, selecting the end of the text layer just like that, and continue holding down Command and selecting this text layer as well. Now all I have to do is hit Command V, and that just applied this cross dissolve to this text layer and this text layer. So now it looks like this.
The 3 brands that I trust most are...
That looks super good, very professional. Now that we have our text layers built, we can actually duplicate these out as many times as we want. So I'm going to close up this audio layer just like this, bring this down, just so we have a bit more real estate to work with up here. What I can do is select all of these, hold down Option, and drag this over. And now I just duplicated that whole thing. So if I zoom out on the timeline, I could use this as many times as I want. I could even duplicate this again by holding down Option and dragging out again. So maybe this is a title sequence or a common theme throughout the video. I don't have to rebuild this from scratch. I can just use one of these ones that I duplicated. Up next, we're going to do something that all YouTubers add to their videos, and that is a background with a title card. So here in the video, Anthony's talking about 2 of his favorite external hard drives that he loves to use, and this would be a great point to show graphics of both of those hard drives. So what I'm going to do is pull up the free YouTube video editing starter pack and pull up this really awesome gradient background. Again, you can download this for free in the link in the description of this video. Now, before I drag this in, I'm actually just going to go over to master over here, right click, create a new bin, and call this graphics, just to keep it nice and organized. Now I'm going to select the background, drag this into graphics, just like that. Next, I'm going to double click the background, select an in and an out point, just like that is fine. Drag this in just like that. Cool, now let's time up this background.
2 favorite drives
and I want to start the background right here.
Are the Samsung T7 Shield and the SanDisk Extreme SSD.
Cool, and we'll end it right here. So I'm just going to extend this out. And I want to transition this background in, although I'm not really in love with any other ones from DaVinci Resolve. So I'm going to use one from Content Creator Templates. I'm going to select Content Creator Templates, and now we have a ton of different options in here. I'm going to select this one right here. I think this is really fun. Drag and drop this right at the beginning. And now let's check out what this looks like.
My 2 favorite drives are the Samsung T7 Shield.
That looks super sweet. I love the way that looks, really giving this video a super professional touch. That would have taken a long time to animate on my own. And now I'm going to bring in the graphics of the 2 external hard drives. These are our 2 graphics right here. So just going to select both of these, drag this into graphics. And I'm just going to drag both of these into our timeline just like this. Stack them. And let's see which one comes first.
T7 Shield and the...
All right, cool. And this one's going to go on top. Just going to move this down. And this one's going to come over just like this. So I'm just timing these up when Anthony introduced them.
Samsung T7 Shield and the SanDisk Extreme SSD. They're both
cool. And these will both exit at the same time. Just like that. So now I'm going to adjust where these are located on the screen. Select the graphic. Move this over. And select this graphic and move this over. And because this one's a little bigger than this one, I'm going to go to Zoom X and make this slightly smaller. And now it's a little higher than this one, so I'm just going to adjust where it's located and drop that down just a little bit. Perfect. Move this over and move this one over. So I'm just kind of eyeballing where these are located on the screen. That looks pretty good, just like that. Now I'm going to go to video transitions and add a push transition to this, just like that. Perfect. Drag that and drop. Select the transition, make this 30 frames, motion blur, bring this up, ease in, and I want to push this down. And I'm just going to copy that transition, hold down Command, click on the front of this graphic right here, hit Command V, and that just applied this to this graphic as well. So now let's watch this back.
Drives are the Samsung T7 Shield and the SanDisk Extreme SSD.
That is looking super professional. I love the way that this is pulling down and these are pulling down as well. Now to make this look really pro, instead of just having this hard cut right at the end just like that, I want to have this whole thing transition out at once. So what I'm going to do is select everything just like this, right click, and then I'm going to go up to New Compound Clip. Click this, and I'm going to call this SSD transition, hit create, and that just compiled everything onto one video track. Everything's the same, it still plays back the same exact way, but now when we apply the transition, we only have to apply the transition to one track instead of all of them. So I'm going to use another really cool transition from Content Creator Templates, and in this case, I'm going to do a glitch transition. Glitch transitions are some of my favorite. I'm just going to click this, drag it to the end, drop, make this a bit faster. So now let's check this out.
Extreme SSD. They're both fast, durable.
That looks awesome, just like that. Really subtle, kind of gives it this really cool modern feel. Now, if you're interested in more really cool transitions for DaVinci Resolve, I definitely recommend checking out Content Creator Templates. It is the most affordable place to get tons of assets for DaVinci Resolve, including backgrounds, LUTs, film burns, transitions, sound effects. Literally everything you need is right there on the platform. Everything's super easy to use, as you just saw in this video. It only takes a couple seconds to apply, and you can get some really epic results. If you're interested in signing up, I added a link to Content Creator Templates in the description below. After you've added all your B-roll, graphics, and effects, the finish line is right around the corner. But before we wrap things up, there are still some absolutely crucial steps left. Step number 9 in the workflow is all about music and sound effects. Don't forget, audio makes up half of the viewing experience. If you want to create truly great content, you need to focus on adding music and sound effects that elevate the emotion and storytelling throughout your video. Even in the simple editing tutorial that you're watching, we've been using music and sound effects to emphasize each new section. This keeps things engaging and helps create a more immersive experience. Now, you might not consciously notice every single sound effect, but they're always there. From risers and hits that mark the new sections, to whooshes and pops that bring those graphics and animations to life, we take every opportunity to add more depth to everything through sound effects. And if you stick around, I'll actually share some of my favorite sound effects with you for free. But first, let me tell you about 14 Day Filmmaker. If you want to learn everything there is to shooting and editing professional content while spending as little time and money throughout the process as possible, look no further than 14 Day Filmmaker, an online course that has taught over 135,000 people. We cover literally everything: the best gear, the cinematic camera settings, beautiful composition, professional lighting, how to record high quality audio, storytelling, how to go viral on social media and YouTube, and so much content on editing, it will blow your socks off. Almakar took the course and is now averaging millions of views per month on YouTube. Ashley used her content skills to turn her passion for music into a full-time career. Thousands of students have started freelance businesses with what they've learned. Not to mention, everyone who enrolls also gets lifetime access to our weekly live Q&A calls. You also get free bonuses like sound effects, editing templates, color grading LUTs, cheat sheets, and more. All of that for less money than a dinner date with your grandma. Not to mention, you actually get 3 courses: a smartphone specific course, a pro camera course, and a directing crash course. The link to learn more and enroll is in the description below. And if you want those free sound effects that I mentioned, you can download those in the free YouTube editing starter pack that I linked in the description of this video. Anyway, let's jump right back into adding music and sound effects to our videos. Now, this graphics section in the video is actually the perfect place to do sound effects. So what I'm going to do is import the free sound effects that you get from the free YouTube video editing pack. I'm going to go up to master right here and select master. And I'm going to pull up the free YouTube video editing starter pack and select the folder that says CCT_SFX. I'm going to select this and drag this into this small little rectangle right here. Drop that. And now we have all of our sound effects right in here. To get a bit more real estate down here, I'm just going to select this bar right here and drag this up. Now we have a bit more working room down here. I'm going to minimize the talking head audio by scrolling that up and expand this right down here. Now with audio, I think it's really helpful to actually rename these tracks. So I'm just going to double click this right here and call this sound effects. And all of our sound effects will go on this audio track right here. Now with sound effects, what we're trying to do is match motions and actions on the screen with sounds that we think help best represent that. So for example, right here, we have this mouse coming into the screen, kind of has this motion right here before it starts to swipe down. This would resemble a click. And I'm going to go up here and search for mouse click. Perfect. Now what I can do is double click this, and that's going to load it in the preview window here. And I want to go to the first one, hit I and O. And what we want to do is drag this down to sound effects. I'm going to use this button right here, and this will zoom us in. I can use our zoom in bar right here to get a bit more of a detailed look. And now what I'm doing is timing up this sound wave right here to the playhead, because this is where we want the click sound to come in. So what I'm going to do is select this sound and drag this over. Boom, just like that. Now you can see they are lined up. So let's see how this sounds. Now the next motion here is the mouse dragging down like this. You can even see that there are some whoosh lines coming off of it just like that. And with whooshes, what we're trying to do is time up the middle of the movement to the middle of the whoosh. So I'm going to go to our search bar and search for whoosh. Perfect. Now we have a couple different options here. I think this one will be really good. So I'm just going to select this, double click this, go to the beginning, set an in point, out point right there, drag this in. Now if I dropped it over here, notice how it would be covering up the click sound. So I'm just going to drag this down one more layer. And I'm going to use this tool right here and extend it a little bit. So now we have sound effects on this layer and sound effects also on this layer right here. So we're going to look for the middle of the mouse click. So right about there, click, drag this over. And notice how the middle of the whoosh is now happening with the middle of this movement right here. Now this sound effect is going to be way too loud. So an easy way to lower the volume is to go into the middle, and you can kind of vaguely see this line right here. Notice how when the icon changes just like that, there's the small up arrow and the small down arrow that allows us to shrink and expand the sound just like that. So I'm going to hit Command Z, or a very easy way is to just go up to the audio tab over here and drag this down or bring it up. So in this case, we're going to bring it down to, let's try -15, just like that. And let's see how this sounds. That sounds really good. And there's really no right or wrong volume with sound effects. I like to keep them more on the background of the video than blaring in the front. All right, so the next motion is this SSD card coming in. So we can also apply a whoosh right here. Let's use this other one. Select, drag this in. And this one is a lot lower volume, as you can see. So we can increase this a little bit. We'll see how this sounds. So that's way too loud now, so we're actually going to bring this way down. Nice, so we're timing up the middle of the whoosh to the middle of the motion. And the second one comes in right there. So the middle of the motion is right about there. I'm going to select this whoosh, hold down Option, and drag this over. Awesome, I think that sounds great. I would continue the same process throughout the entire video, adding sound effects whenever possible. Now, music is very similar to sound effects. All you do is select Master, then we would right click over here, then we would go to New Bin. We would call this music, hit enter, select music, and now we would drag in our music to this box right here. And before I drag the music track into our timeline right here, one thing I always like to do is add one extra track down below. And to do that, I'm going to right click and I'm going to go to add tracks. And up here, we don't need to add any video tracks, so I'm going to hit 0. But we do want to add one audio track, so I'm going to keep this on 1 down here. Now I'm going to hit add tracks. Now if I scroll all the way to the bottom, you can see that that just added a 4. So I'm going to collapse all of these so they're really small, expand A4, and I'm going to call this music. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I don't want to accidentally drag the music over any of the sound effects. So now I'm going to select the music track just like this and drag this into the music right down here. Now the most important thing with music is you don't want it to be too overpowering. So I'm going to go up to volume right here, and I'm going to drop this all the way down to -25 dB. This is a good starting point, and from here we can either increase the volume or decrease the volume even more. So let's play this video and see how it sounds.
What are the best camera accessories to turn your iPhone into a cinematic powerhouse? And make sure to stick around.
Okay, so it's a little low in the background, so we can move this to -20 and try this.
What are the best camera accessories to turn your iPhone into a cinematic powerhouse? And make sure to stick around to the end because I'll be giving away some free editing templates.
Awesome. I think that sounds really good right there. So we landed on -20. Now, not all music is the same, so you're definitely going to have to listen to this and change this around depending on the music track that you use. Now from here, you can either use the same music track throughout the entire video, or what I like to do is use different music tracks depending on what's happening in the video. For example, if I'm going into a montage sequence, I'll kind of use some action music. If I'm going into a cinematic sequence, I'll use some slow ambient cinematic music. The options are endless, and I think that having good music can really help support your video. Now finally, we have one more step: export. But before you do that, I highly recommend one more final pass, which I call quality assurance. At this stage, I watch through the entire video and stop at any point to fix any issues that I notice. Usually, this means going back and doing some extra color correction or color grading, especially on the B-roll clips we might have missed during the first pass. I also double check all the text graphics to make sure there aren't any typos, even though somehow there always seems to be one or two that sneak through. Once that's done, you're ready to export. Just head down to the rocket ship icon at the bottom of the screen, choose a name for your project, and then pick a location where you want to save your video. Select .mp4 for the format and .h264 for the codec. After that, hit add to render queue, and then render all. And that's pretty much it, my friends. Now you know my full 10-step editing workflow. If you'd like to see an even more detailed training on DaVinci Resolve, we've got a video linked on the screen that you can check out. Other than that, hit the like and subscribe button if you want to see more content like this, and I'll see you in the next one.